Yeah, you know, when a game goes like that, one team is like, okay, we can easily win the game like this, and the other one is in a state of mind, let's just attempt to play Dota. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of emphasis for the lanes from Team Empire. From Hydra, they might switch it up a bit. You know, Marcy, she is a laning phase hero, but the Beastmaster, you don't have to look at him that way. He's more of a we're gonna control a big chunk of the map vision type hero. That's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the Beast.
5 seconds. Hurry, hurry.
Beastmaster, Sniper, Lifestealer?
Team are now picking.
I wouldn't like the Lifestealer too much against the Viper though. But at least you have like the way of buffing someone up a little bit against, like, if Team Empire wants burst damage, you go Lifestealer just to give that Infest a bit of an extra. And you don't want to go too much physical damage now with this Winter Wyvern on the board as well with the Curse. I guess you could still go for heroes like the Sniper, you know, long-range type of physical damage dealers. Maybe even Luna. I don't think Luna's too bad, to be honest.
Long-ranged physical damage.
I know she's mid-range. I know, but it's not too far out of the book. Rubik's a good pick here, though.
It is a pretty solid one. Stealing the Nether Toxin, Avalanche is a good spell to steal from Winter Wyvern, the Splinter Blast, the heal. Ulti usually not gonna be getting it until you get the Ether Lens, but you're gonna be fine. And the Weaver comes out. Okay, that's a hero that uses mobility. He is quite strong in the lane with the Marcy. The bugs make Viper's time really, really tough because he doesn't have that much attack speed. So I'm liking this one. Shigetsu has shown us that the hero is really viable in position 1, so Hydra are trying to make it work themselves, but this is the second Alchemist game I'm seeing today, and I do think that Hydra do have tools to deal with him, but it is a very tough hero to beat in Tier 2 Dota.
Yeah, Alchemist can be a very annoying hero to play against, especially with all the reinforcing that Empire has already done kind of around this hero with the Vipers and the Winter Wyverns. How much do you want to punish this Alchemist in this game? Do you lane counter him, or do you start playing from the +7 to 8 minute marker and just invade the jungle and the triangle constantly? How do you play against this Alchemist in this game?
Given that the Beastmaster and the Rubik aren't really the greatest lane in terms of dealing with him, you don't have good armor on your hero, so Acid Spray is going to be a problem. I think you take it a little bit slower if you're Hydra. You win the safe lane. It is not the off lane. The off lane, you try to survive to get levels. You win the safe lane, and then you try to get the towers down, and with that pressure the Alchemist. I think if you just run in as Hydra with this kind of a lineup, that there's always going to be a turnaround. You're running into an Avalanche, you're running into the Winter's Curse, you're running up the high ground where a Viper could be waiting for you. So I think map control, area control is the way that Hydra need to get it, and that is something that their heroes are good at. But it's hard to pinpoint your exact timing because one mistake can cost you. But yeah, Hydra has mobility, and I'd like them to use it. Looking at this Weaver for the most things, win the laning phase, rotate. That is the thing they should be looking at.
Team Empire is kind of sitting on 2 stuns currently. Tiny's Avalanche Toss combo and the concoction off of the Alchemist. Otherwise, Wyvern still needs some time to catch people. Viper would love to build a lot of ATOS maybe in this game to ensure that people just don't run away. But what kind of build would this Viper want to go in this game in terms of how this draft is already building up? Do you just build utility? Do you go somewhat magical? Do you go somewhat physical? Or do you just go full-on tanky?
I think you put the Viper in position 5 and
like a support.
Yeah, I think you do that because I don't like the Viper pick here per se that much. I think the Weaver and the Marcy will be crushing him. I'd rather see like a Winter Wyvern tiny lane or a Winter Wyvern position 4, and now they pick an off lane for Empire. That is something that because of the point you made, I don't see a good item for him. BKB doesn't help much. Roaring, the bugs are still gonna eat you up. The ATOS doesn't feel that great. You know, for Team Empire, it's about being able to stop the advance of Hydra, right, and control a part of the map for the Alchemist to farm. And that item is better off at catching people. Against the Void Spirit would be okay though. Maybe just put the Viper in mid. It is gonna do well against the Void Spirit, and then you can go for like a Dragonlance build.
Well then, shall
Right.
we pick
Well,
some
we're gonna see the
heroes?
Pango come out as the last pick from Team Empire. Squadix mid Pango, carry Alchemist, 3 Viper, 5 Wyvern, and the 4 Tiny. That's gonna be Empire's draft. And HYDRA, they go for the carry Weaver. Off lane Beastmaster, mid Void Spirit, nothing too out of the ordinary out of this draft. Heroes have swapped teams, and new heroes have been brought onto the field. On a grade from 4 to 10, we're gonna use Finnish school grading system. How many numbers would you give to Empire? 10 being the best, and 4 being a fail.
Regarding their draft,
Regarding their draft,
I'm gonna go for a 7. I
go
think. I don't think
7.
I don't think their draft is a fail, but I think that you have put yourself in a position where you might not win the other 2 lanes that are not the Alchemist ones. The reason I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm favoring them. I think I favor HYDRA's lineup, but I'm just not sure if it's not easy to execute against what they're playing against. You can start panicking and then dying into the enemies. So I like HYDRA's lineup more, but it is pretty tough to understand when your timings are. On the other hand, it's very easy to understand your timings in Team Empire, but I'm not the biggest fan of their laning stage setup.
so you're technically saying that HYDRA's like a 8.5, and Empire's about a 7. If you're an Alchemist fan, you could give up higher grading
Let's
for
get to
this,
it, shall we?
depending on who you are and where you're coming from. Though I haven't been too impressed by the Alchemists I've seen lately. I like that he's getting a lot of love. He's a very experimental hero at the current time because, you know, Alchemist was gone for quite a long time. Has been making a small return. He's, you could say, a buff to his ulti because it gives you 5 seconds of extra positioning, and it also gives you 5 seconds of, you know, staying hidden for a bit. So I think like the more you have a duration is better than having, it's better compared to the cooldown, so to say, because you have 5 more seconds of active fighting time.
No, that's true. That's true for sure. I think it's a bit easier to commit with what they did right now. The downtime is the same, but it's still a bit easier to commit a little bit. Either way, I'm just thinking that a lot of it is gonna be decided on the bottom lane. I don't necessarily think it's gonna be the game, but the early mid game for HYDRA or for Empire does rely heavily on the bottom lane. If Empire wins the bottom lane, I think it's gonna be an easy time for them. If they lose it, HYDRA actually
level
have
1.
the tools to fight Ascult.
Interesting. Stun level 1 to start things off with on retrograde, and they're going to toss Ascult back, and a first blood is imminent, and it's going to be for Empire.
Okay. And for Squadix. So
And for Squadix.
we were talking about you actually Empire possibly losing the mid lane and the bottom lane. Mid lane with that kind of a move where the Pango gets the first blood is pretty much secure that you're gonna be at least even, but are probably gonna be coming out ahead. And Squadix being the one that is the strongest team fighter in this game, he's the one that's gonna create space. So it has to feel really bad for the side of HYDRA giving the first blood away to him.
Early poke also in this top lane, both towards retrograde and to ICQ. Axes versus Concoctions. And then BZZ versus Koval. I think BZZ kind of now understands how Koval wants to play in his lane. Now with this Rubik versus Winter Wyvern matchup, Rubik definitely beats this one, so Wyvern doesn't want to stick around for too much. Rubik has more damage and just a bit less HP, but still.
It's more about keeping the Alchemist healthy in this lane, so we're probably gonna even see BZZ getting the Cold Embrace. Really, the boards aren't gonna be surviving that much in the Acid Spray once it starts coming out, so it is it is not gonna be the easiest lane for HYDRA, to be honest. I think that Retrograde should be coming out to this one quite okay.
I don't like the idea of going for the early point in Cold Embrace just for that extra heal, which would work wonders with a strength hero.
Plus,
extra sustainability.
you don't have like constant output of magic damage from the side of Hydra. Use
Yeah.
your axes.
How did that happen? I guess that's
That
just...
is, you know, being afraid of the. That is why I was being afraid of this Viper in the offlane. Marcy, Weaver. They will kill you, and the Weaver will now get probably the Swarm on level 3. That makes the Viper kill even easier.
Oh, yeah.
The Tiny and the Viper don't really scream attack speed, so they won't be able to remove it that easily.
Turning their attention towards James as well. The toss comes out. There's also the jump in from Marcy. They will dispose of James. That will be the second kill in this lane for them. Top lane, everybody's pretty low here. Want to watch out for that Fate Bolt and the axes. Retrograde able to pop some 1 charges though. He has this. I like this Alchemist item build. Triple branches, straight up wand rush. I've had like this golden rule that you never upgrade stick until you have brown boots. Why is the reason he wanted to bring the magic wand already? Extra
Too much
stats?
spam. Too much spam. You could see that he already had like 14 wand charges there on the top lane. So the Beastmaster and the Rubik are just spamming way too much. Retrograde going in.
Yeah, there's a very, you can almost say a bit of a over-ambitious attempt as well at Retrograde. Still trying to make his way out, and he's looking for the deny here, but he will throw the stun onto the Beastmaster, and that will allow BZZ to find a return kill. But Alchemist has been felled. And that will be an important kill for Hydra. Starting off their laning stage pretty well here in the top lane.
Bit of a greedy play for the Alchemist to go for the Grievil's Greed level 2. I think it hurt him quite a lot. Sure, with the concoction, you got a kill in the mid lane, so you're gonna say that that was pretty solid for level 1, even though it kind of hurts your laning phase. But playing without the acid spray against heroes who, you know, they're not gonna have that much armor starting off things, it would be great. And now ICQ, he has both the Helm of Iron Will and Ring of Protection, so your timing with that spell is actually off.
Now gonna go attempting again onto ICQ. Shotchlow is killed at the same time as these fights happen. Killed under his own tower. So simultaneously making a reactive move onto the bottom lane as this top area is also fighting Ascald. Forced all the way back home. He did hit level 6 though, but that does let Pango now get some free reign over the mid lane.
Weaver?
Rory, yep, he's dead. James with the toss.
I don't know if you were looking there, but he just went into the tower with the Shikuchi and he got avalanched and then tossed after it. So he lost the Shikuchi and he died. It's not like the Tiny tossed him back. It was just the Weaver walked into a tower like a madman. So a bit of a mistake there. I was about to say, when we look at how the lanes are going, we can expect a relatively even game. Squadix is doing well in the mid lane, so Empire didn't get crushed in the mid. Bottom lane is going well for Hydra, which means that the Weaver will be able to pressure the Alchemist, and the top lane is so and so. You know, the Beastmaster will be able to take the tower in a decent timing, but he didn't crush the lane. So we should be looking at an even game where it's gonna come down to like the last game, not in the laning phase, but actually towards the mid game plays of the teams.
Yeah. Also pretty. Oh, they're gonna go again onto James this time. Tiny getting pummeled. Rory with the 3rd kill. And into the top lane, Retrograde really playing aggressive against this Beastmaster. Wants to apply as much poke as he possibly can with the ICQ. Koval with the toss, but there's a creep wave. Won't be able to get much done here. BZZ, Arctic Burn to slow them down. Keep them at bay. I'm really liking this Rubik pick into this game, considering how many good abilities there are. And every time you see the Pango, you can just take the Rolling Thunder. And look at this. Illusion Rune, take by kicked instead, and here we go, Rolling Thunder will be popped and onto the chase. Ascald able to dodge this one. Wants to stay in the fight though, will get hit again by the Rolling Thunder here by Squadix, and James move around. Now Squadix always gotta get lifted under the tower. It's gonna take a couple hits. He will pop the Swashbuckle to get away. Remnant almost connects, it hits the range creep instead, and James going for the toss play onto the Void Spirit. It's gonna be enough. Ascald playing with his life, playing with fire almost. But the fire ends up scorching him, and Tiny Airlines, thanks to that.
what you like to do from HYDRA in this game is definitely force out those spam ultis in the mid lane and just disengage. You have good heroes to do so. You want to open up the potential to dive some other parts of the map and push with the Beastmaster. That is the main thing. So they get it out, but HYDRA with the Rubik coming in, they got greedy. So they got the ulti from the Pango and they thought, okay, maybe we can get more because we have more heroes. But with how the laning phase went and the Pango having just a little bit too much in front of the Void Spirit, you just didn't have the damage necessary to deal with Squadix, and they had more than enough. Tiny and the Pango, they do so much damage in the early game.
Would you happen to know, by the way, as a bit of an off-topic question, is HYDRA or Team Empire with their current rosters boot camping at all? Because I remember in Tour 1, HYDRA was playing there, and I think they had a boot camp throughout the entire season, pretty much, or like almost over halfway.
I was thinking about that, acting like I do know it, but I have no idea. I haven't gotten the info from any of the players, and I guess we will be having an interview in the end, so at least one of these teams will find out about it.
We definitely hope to have interviews, which we haven't had too many on Division 2, at least on this tour. We had some very good talks with several players. We had a couple of HYDRA interviews as well in Tour 1 back in early December and during December, January even. Some good talks with their players, learning a bit about their, you know, the Kyrgyzstani culture, what kind of food these guys eat, where they're located, how their team synergy is coming together. And Ascald's the only remaining member of the, well, I'm not going to say original HYDRA roster, but I'm going to say the HYDRA roster we know. He's the last original player from it, because we have our offlane player, well, ICQ. We'll get back to ICQ in a second as Chachlow's about to go down. Is he going to die, though? Toss in Shakuchi. Yep, looks like Chachlow's going to be making his way out.
And here comes Pango.
Can't
speak yet, Pango.
Oh, he does actually get there, yeah. Kicked. Oh, he's surrounded by enemies. Oh, nowhere to go. Squadix and James body blocking him in the trees. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Beastmaster player. ICQ was in the first HYDRA roster, and he was put into HYDRA Junior, which was the Academy team, and then brought up from the Academy team to this this new HYDRA roster. That tangent took for so long. I apologize for that, but I just wanted to get it out of my system.
No problem. I understand it, Panda, you know, and I'm sorry that that I actually put a kill in the Dota game that we're casting in front of you.
You did not do the kill. The players did the kill.
Oh yeah, okay, so it's
they
their
just
fault.
Won't let me talk. It is their fault for not letting me finish my sentence. Of course.
If HYDRA wins the series and comes in for an interview, we're gonna make them apologize.
No,
make sure of that. Yeah, they can't do that any longer.
Okay,
I mean,
you can do that, but I have nothing to do with that in that point.
Yeah, I'm doing it for you, so I'm. You do have something to do
Okay, if you're
with it.
doing it for me, then of course we will demand HYDRA for an apology to the talent, of course. But Winter Wyvern disconnecting, so we have a 5-5 scoreline. First 10 minutes, laning stage is now so-called ended. It doesn't really have a minute marker for it, but this is like the 9 to 12 minutes is when we exit the laning stage. Technically, it seems like it is still built into the game that if a tower hasn't fallen, or if a tower does fall, that will finally allow us to start moving and roaming around the map. But there's no written rule for it. Like, Dota has just been this way for such a long time, where our lanes are not fluid. Our lanes are still kind of locked in. I think 1 or 2 patches we'd have, like, the aggro tri-lanes would mess things up, but that would still mean that they're locked in that lane for such a long time.
No, definitely will. Though, still, Empire, they should be quite happy with how things are going. They have the Rolling Thunder to defend this tower. The Winter Wyvern is in a good position to defend it. It is full, and I think Empire can and should be fighting this one, especially with the Weaver dead. Now you don't really have to stay on the bottom lane. Your resources are quite nice. BZZ. Okay, he's gonna die.
Yeah, BZZ surrounded by enemies. We'll find a support kill for this. It's going to take them a bit of time until BCC finally falls. He's only level 5. Being engaged in the tree line, and with that astral step, Scott will pick off the last hit. Losing the Weaver does kind of hurt, though. That was a bit of a surprise kill, too, because he was alone in the bottom lane. He did not get tossed either. Tossed was completely off cooldown, so he was killed by an avalanche.
Yeah, Weaver is definitely dropping the ball here. Rory had a good start to the laning stage, and then he died twice. Once I saw exactly how he died here. It is probably again him overextending, because as you mentioned, the toss wasn't even used there. So a bit of a mistake coming out from him going into the jungle. Not something you want to see with the Weaver, especially playing against the Alchemist. But still, HYDRA, they get their tower down. Now it's time to start overtaking the enemy jungle. You can see though that Empire are already ready with the vision. It's gonna be expiring, but you can only assume that Empire with the next time they want to fight, they're gonna be going towards the top lane just to ward that. Again, you want the Alchemist to have a little bit more to farm, and that includes the top lane as well.
Yeah. Empire with a net worth lead. What? How is that an 84 to 16% win probability for Empire? How? I mean, we know that a specific someone likes money, and an Alchemist provides a lot of that, but come on, I mean, is there no logic to this graph? Especially in a game with an Alchemist?
It's 4,000 gold lead, 11 minutes into the game. HYDRA, they don't really have a hero to play off of. All of their lanes have somewhat lost. You know, it does make sense. But Retrograde, he wants to even it out a little bit. That's why he's so deep.
I wonder how if this Alchemist were to die, he's got a 30-second cooldown on his ult. He's definitely looking to fall here. So 86 to 14%, 86 to 14. How much does this Alchemist living?
You were saying?
Killing Marcy impact our graphs here. We're gonna have to wait like a minute until it updates, but
Radiant's middle tower is taking damage.
okay. So they're not killing the Alchemist, and they're taking a tower in mid. So Empire is making the right moves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Retrograde, he was in a bad position. The thing is, you know, those extra iron branches, not using them with the tangos in lane, he knew why he was doing it, so that he can block his path when the people are chasing him. And now it does actually allow him to survive, though yet again, he runs into dangerous territory.
The bell gongs at this point, and BZZ is going to be there. Ascot, nice jump between both of them. Can they kill this Alchemist? It's been a bit of a difficulty for them. They're going to take down BZZ, and here comes Squadix on the side. Roar will be popped by ICQ onto the Viper, and they will stun the Void Spirit, and Retrograde is still surviving, and Ascot getting tossed into the air, has another Astral Step available to assimilate to the low ground, and hunting down this Alchemist that will finally take Retrograde down, and Shotslow also down. Empire will lose 3 heroes in this skirmish. And HYDRA will keep all of their members alive as this fight was taking place. 6,000 damage dealt in that short fight.
That is a Retrograde making mistakes now twice. Yeah, first time he made a mistake, but he kind of paid for it with really cool movements in the trees and actually allowed BZZ to get a kill with Winter's Curse. The thing is, if you want your Alchemist to go deep like that, you need a core in the vicinity, mainly the Pango, because he's the mobile one, to be somewhere close so that he doesn't allow for a chase. Or even the Tiny with the Avalanche not to allow for the chase, because HYDRA were chasing to a part of the map that they would ideally control. You know, we talked about HYDRA, how do they play this game? They control an area and they don't allow the Alchemist to farm. Sure, you do want to take more parts of the map, but not with the Alchemist body, but with someone else's. So Retrograde there twice. First on the top lane, and now in his own jungle, and sets up HYDRA for success.
Rubik, that is an invisible square rolling about. Marcy gets locked down on the D-ward attempt. And the stolen curse from Koval, and they're going to push everybody towards the Tiny and Rory. Can he get something done here? Weaver, who's been taken down twice already. Ascal's going to be there as well. Jumps available onto 2. Only gets 1 into the Astral Step, and that's James. Squadix does not end up taking any damage. And Rory! No mana! No mana! Can't time-lapse! Oh, poor Weaver.
He got his mana taken away by the Diffusal Blade, and he got lucky shots, so he got disarmed. He couldn't even get the kill. That just feels so bad. You know, he raised his little arms, tiny arms, to kill the Winter Wyvern, and then first they get cut off, which is pretty nasty, and then his mana gets taken away, so he couldn't even go back in time to when he had his arms. So really, or legs. You know, he is a bug. So
that's a very, very grim way to put it, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened in the colorized version. Empire finding yet again another kill. That's death number 3 on the Weaver, and he's probably shaking his head because he's given a couple somewhat easy kills for Empire, and that being him. And now James is on the D-board. They just refuse to give a chance for this cliff to stay safe. And James is stuck with Marcy. Marcy could dispose him down, but he's gonna stay there on the cliff. Marcy still living with the stick charges, protecting the queen of the hill. She finally gets sliced down by the swashbuckle. Not much left of kicked after that.
That's a very, very unfortunate place to die. They won't even be able to take her back to the family, you know. But
you died on the top. You died on the top. I think, you know, like if you want to reach the top at some point and then you give your life for it, I guess you've already, I guess you've done your job. But you know, the game is still going on. So imagine if Dota was a King of the Hill version. You know, like you have to hold a cliff for 10 minutes, and if the opponent doesn't take it away, you win.
Sometimes it is like that.
I see the Q gets the roar out onto Tiny. Rolling Thunder does connect. And here comes Askold. Sadly, though, Askold doesn't quite get the kill onto this Winter Wyvern, and he's got no more Astral Steps. He's kind of surrounded by Empire enemies as well, and slowly taking him down. Squadex with the work. Retrograde will get a kill onto Koval, and Askold under the tower. Astral Step, and finally a bird or a dragon lands on top, so that will be taking down Askold, and that's 3 for Empire. And Alchemist is still farming.
Yep, he has been hitting creeps. Now he has the Radiance. Once the BKB is there, Empire actually ready to fight. But Retrograde, he went for... Retrograde again? He's alone. What the hell is he doing? Does he... Yeah, he can't die anymore, I guess.
We like to have, like, we have a Finnish term we call, well, flexing, in a way. Like, power fantasies. He's living in a fantasy world where he believes he's so strong that he can do whatever he wants right now. And usually it ends up being the downfall of many players because they're, you know, getting caught inside, like, say, for example, tier 3 towers at the 10-minute mark. So I guess he's, you know, he's living a fantasy right now, but at least he makes his way out.
I like the fantasy that he's living, and give me some of that, you know, because he just forced a full-on 5-man rotation towards, or 4-man rotation towards the top lane, and they didn't even touch him. So Retrograde, he created space for himself. He doesn't need his team. He can do it all on his own. Maybe that was the case. Guys, you dropped the ball in the last one. Now allow me to show you how it's done. Give me a hero that I'm gonna create the space for myself with, and even carry the game in the end. And now with the 12k goal lead with the Weaver that just didn't have that good of a game, this isn't looking like a game HYDRA can pressure any longer. And that idea to hold the areas, it just doesn't work. You're too weak.
I guess sometimes you just have to blindly believe on the graphs, right? To maybe throwing a bit of a jinx. Maybe Alchemist does die at some point of the game, but he is hitting a pretty good timer here. And they're going to be finding Koval as well. Rubik will be killed. Another roar, but no fall off from HYDRA. Very desperate situation as well. BZZ just waiting to land the curse, and Askold's going to be there. BZZ wanted to go for it, and the Rolling Thunder blink in by Squadex. Weaver almost completely out of mana once again, has to keep the remainders of that mana pool up so you have a chance to time-lapse. Askold trying to disengage Squadex, but the swashbuckle doesn't quite connect, but still slowing him down is the Diffusal played Brock. Tiny Retrograde is also pretty low under the tower. BCC almost getting taken down, and BCC's dead, and Alchemist will fall. HYDRA will finally get the kills they were looking for. I don't know what the heck was going on under the tower as the chase was still happening onto the Void Spirit, and the BKB from Viper kicked, charges in with the Unleash, and James is going to be traded as the Marcy falls, and on the Viper, not enough damage. Not able to get that. There's no way to cancel the TP, so that will be HYDRA finding a couple kills for themselves with a pretty scrappy start to the fight. I mean, I think you can also agree that HYDRA were scrambling at the start of the fight, roar with no follow-up, but sticking for long enough under their tower, I feel like they finally found some success.
Yeah, Empire were playing just like Hydra would love to play this game, diving constantly, and Empire were playing that way. You know, I really didn't understand the Alchemist going in, but I guess that was some now Johnny Bravo level flexing. You know, you get close to the one that you were flexing to, and you just get smacked,
Aegis.
and you drop on your ass.
James wants to go in. Tiny dropping fairly low. Retrograde with the stun into the backline onto Koval. And able to get that Squad X is there as well. They secure the Rubik kill. And Ascald, this might be a pretty heavy Roshan take for Hydra because they're about to lose members. Retrograde's right there looking for the stun. And no connection, but the Avalanche is there. James with another toss onto Ascald. And they finally finished off the Void Spirit. Rory doesn't have the damage items yet on this Weaver to fight back against Empire. So they find 2 kills despite missing the Roshan and the Aegis. They can push.
I really like the Eastern European Division 2 Dota today. They're just running in. I don't know if you watched the first series of the day, but there were some really heavy dives and you know, games that you thought were over because of the dives. They ended up going the other team's way. You know, something you mentioned, it was like Bet Boom and Navi. Bet Boom winning, and then one overdive and you lose the game. Well, yeah, those are the kind of games that we're looking at. Empire, though, in this kind of situation, I think they can dive over and over again. I just don't see Hydra having the strength to win the fights over and over again unless Empire dive too deep. And I think Retrograde finally has learned his lesson. Now with the BKB, it's gonna be almost impossible to take him down.
Kicked, wasn't entirely sure, should I take both bounties or just one? And they found Ascald at the bot lane, stunned up but into the safety of the high ground. BKB now on the Alchemist. This is your Alch timing. 21 minutes, Radiance BKB Blink. You can still get stronger from that, but this is your prime.
There is a play style in Dota. OG kind of runs it. You know, you play so fast. Your moves, they kind of have an idea behind it, but it's more so like catching your enemy on the wrong foot. That is the main thing and I'm feeling like Empire are trying to play that kind of Dota. You know, they're not playing around their timings. They're just going in like madman.
Oh, Hydra wants to fight this. They're gonna get the stun on the Alchemist, and Ascald wants to
Aegis,
charge
why not?
in. James is about to drop. James is down. BKB bumped by the Viper. They got the heal out as well, and there's the curse. It's got the Beastmaster, it's got the Void, but they got the robot. The stolen curse from Koval buys them time, and Ascald, no, not able to get the dissimulate out in time. But Empire, they're gonna be fighting back. Retrograde charging in with the BKB still intact. Beastmaster gonna get stunned up, and the roar comes out. But do they have the damage for it? They've lost ICQ. Rory is retreating as well, and Koval tries to make his way out of here as Retrograde is chasing. Squad X is there with the Diffusal Blade, dealing out the damage onto the Rubik, and finally, you have nowhere to go. Tries to snipe, shot slow, but there's the heal from BCC, so the tower ain't gonna do enough. Empire. It's not an Empire Strikes Back scenario, but Hydra wanted to make a play. They wanted to make a bit of a backstab play as well, because they saw the Alchemist stunning himself, and they just wanted to TP to it. It just didn't work out for them.
It's ideal scenarios when your Weaver has the Aegis, but the thing is, it's so hard for Ari to actually go super deep in because his mana can be taken away by Pango, and then he's going to be useless. They can just ignore him. He just doesn't do enough damage at this point.
Wants to kill the Viper, and time lapses himself. James is getting killed by a bug, and that will work. RC down to Retrograde. Stun. Ascald jumping the backline, finding BCC. That's a good target here for Hydra to go, and that's another one dead. That's 3 heroes taken at the cost of
Retrograde without BKB.
Retrograde needs 16 seconds, and here comes Squad X. Buy some time. Beautiful.
He's gonna turn.
Stolen. Actually, doesn't get stolen by Rubik. It's still the shield crash instead. And they got the toss on to the Alchemist, or lift in this case. But they're just tickling this guy. Rory would like to burn his Aegis, so I feel like he's fully committing to it. BKB used. Might as well.
Imagine this poor ogre of the Alchemist. You know, he is first he's being rode on by a guy like 10 times smaller than him and being controlled in that way. Sure, it does give him strength, but it probably doesn't feel too good. And then even the Rubik is kind of whipping you, so everyone just using you as a slave. That is not good, and he's just running in and being beat up all the time. At least he didn't die that many times, but Empire continuing with their aggression. They're doing this into an Aegis of Hydra, and they're trying just to, and while there's a pause, you can see a Weaver just having a fun at the
we're
park
watching,
right now.
We're looking at Alchemist's face right now. We have a full in zoom in on Alchemist's lovely ogre. So enjoy, viewers.
Yeah, but the Weaver is gonna lose the Aegis now. He did get his BKB though, so those are some big things. This Aegis has allowed Hydra to survive the ultra aggression from Empire. I don't think Empire necessarily needed to be that aggressive, but I'm glad they did. You know, you feel that you can do it, and you're kind of trying to play this style of Dota where the enemies get lost and you just crush them. I do like that Hydra haven't crumbled to it. They actually took pretty solid fights, even if one of their heroes would get caught. They reset the fight quite well. They stop Empire in their tracks, and then they re-engage when they should. Sometimes teams are gonna panic in these kind of scenarios where enemies are just running at you. At some point, you make a mistake, you lose 5 heroes, and all of your objectives on the map are gone. Though Hydra, they do keep themselves in the game by choosing those fights quite nicely.
We're just going on a showcase view galore. Went to finally look at what was happening in mid. Weaver floating in the air. Is Weaver dead? Weaver's pretty sure he's dead. He's Aegis is gonna pop. Alchemist is disconnected, so he doesn't... Retrograde doesn't really know where he is right now by the time he connects back in. He was actually stuck under that tower for quite some time. His hero just stopped. So he's too far away to follow up on this. Plus, he has no BKB, but he could ult and blink in, but he's just too far away now that he did disconnect during all of that happening.
You know, if you could go back to the Weaver and just go and zoom in on him, you know, Weaver, for those people that don't know lore-wise, he's a really powerful being, maybe even the most powerful, like God. He creates, he weaves the worlds, right? And if you look at him, it looks like he's in middle of creation, so maybe we're getting something new in Dota, a new map, a new hero, but it does definitely look like he's creating something. Might just lead to his death.
He's summoning a new patch.
We just got a new patch, man. What's wrong
he's summoning a new one. I mean, what is he doing? Literally summoning a new patch right now. Is that not what I think it is? You know, a lot of elements flying. There's a lot of leaves in here. There's a bit of light.
And with those two circles, they're gonna come together in an 8.0 patch. You know,
that's the second Roshan pit. The one I've been begging for such a long time. The left one is the original Roche pit, and the right one is the new one.
Please, Alchemist, come back. Can you come back now, please? Because this is turning into us talking about our dreams too much about Dota.
Viewers love watching this ogre's face, so we're back to zooming in on Alchemist. Oh, we're having so much fun, surely. Let's look at some of these. You know, we don't get to see Division 2 players and their statues too often. We have James with the Party Maker. What is... Can you go to the Dire Base and look at this Party Maker? Come up with the craziest story you can come up with. Why and how this statue was created.
Dire Base, which is the Party Maker.
James, the Earthshaker.
Oh, the Earthshaker. Okay. Earthshaker Party Maker, you know. How don't you know the clip? You don't know it?
Doesn't ring a bell right away. Can you elaborate?
Shaker Party Maker, you know, it's a really
that one.
yeah, so that's how it was created. He watched the clip, unlike T-Panda here, and he created the statue probably at that point, given that effigies have been a part of Dota for a very long time. So I guess I really think I got the real story going here, you know.
Right, yeah, you did. Okay, next one. We have Shot Slow with Bull. What's going on here? We have we have a sideways. What the heck is this? Who is that? Who has 4 feet? Oh yeah, a lot of people actually have 4 feet. Is that a CK? No, it's like no. That's a Tiny, because that's Tiny's hand. Tiny's tree even. That has to.
Wait, let me zoom in on the Viper.
But how is that a Tiny though? Wait, Why are you looking at the Viper? We're looking at the statue, good sir.
I zoom in on the Viper and I can't see the statue. Wait, for some reason I can't
Oh,
zoom
you're
in on
misclicking.
the.
You need to drag. You need to drag, and you don't click anywhere where the Viper might be. Because this looks like a tiny tree, but there's a sword and a tree, and this guy has 4 feet. Like, these feet are coming out from the side. Like, what the heck is going on here? Why do I not recognize this? I mean,
What the hell?
Exactly. What the hell is going on over here? Like,
I have no idea, but it is not a tiny for sure. Like I am 100%
isn't that
certain
Tiny's
it's not a
tree?
tiny.
Isn't that one of Tiny's trees?
Maybe
That is
up
definitely
someone's
one of the
backside,
tiny
you know.
trees. The one with the diamond inside. It's definitely the one with the diamond inside. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Let's go to the Radiant base. We have a Dance, Dance, Dance on Rari, and we have a... Oh, nice. We have a Matrix Faceless Void with some very good nimble leg movement here. Look at those abs. What song is he dancing to, Harry?
I don't know. It has to be melodic death metal written by T-Panda.
What? Oh man, dancing to death metal. Now that's something. I actually, there's this one TikToker that I've been watching that actually does that. You know, like doing these regular dance moves into like, you know, brutal death metal and stuff like that. And it's weird but funny, but it works. We have.
He's not dancing, man. He's preparing for, you know, not a headbang, but a maze bang, you know, so it does make sense that it has to be some kind of hardcore music.
Right. We apologize, chat, for our rambling here, but there's not much that we can do. Alchemist is gone. I mean, might as well put us on camera for a while.
That's what I was about to say, man. Just put up our faces. You're bringing up the Alchemist.
You are live now, Harry.
People don't want to see ugly faces. They want to see beautiful faces that we contribute as casters. That's why we got hired. You see, for these beautiful faces, definitely not for our Dota knowledge or good casting. You know.
There's a good reason why I just block my camera. We can just see one beautiful face, and it's just Harry. So there's that. Though, yeah, still have a couple minutes until Empire and their pause timer runs out. HYDRA can willingly unpause and then pause the game and start running their own pause timer if they wish to. We've seen good sportsmanship come out from teams in the past, but this is pretty important for Empire. This is a 17,000 net worth Alchemist that is disconnected right now. So if he's not able to come back and HYDRA wants to play the game through, it's in their right. They can go. There's no problem with that. You run out of pause timer, there's not much you can do about it. But they can also willingly take the, you know, pull out the game in a normal way, play it 5 versus 4. Somebody from Empire is going to have to micro the Alchemist, and it will change the dynamic of this game completely, on serious talk.
It will for sure. Empire, they wanted to dive quite a lot. When you are missing a hero, you're not going to be missing a player, you're not going to be using your spells as well. It doesn't matter if the Alchemist is super farmed. And I think Empire right now, because of what just happened, they're definitely not happy themselves for diving that much, because they probably could have gotten a bigger lead. So even if this does happen 4 versus 5, they could just keep the Alchemist in front and actually win the game. Right now, it doesn't seem that likely to happen, though. You know what, Panda? With this disconnect, we did get something from it. And that is finding out that Empire are not boot camping, because, you know, it would be quite weird to one of their PCs to not be able to connect on the internet. There was an interesting thing in
HYDRA's boot camp, right? I remember when HYDRA's boot camp, they just lost power or something, and the router stopped working or something like that, and they were only able to get like 1 or 2 players at a time, and then they would drop again.
Did Queen yesterday just run with his computer to somewhere else because he got a power outage?
He went to his dad's place, if I remember.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if he took his PC with him or if he just went over there. So
I think that was the story, that he was carrying his PC with him. Maybe Empire are doing that right now. Like, imagine just retrograde running around, running to the closest internet, just you know, like in South Park, the World of Warcraft episode, you punch the kid there that is in some gaming club, and you just push him away and like, yep, guys, it's this is my PC now.
Right.
Okay, so BZZ saying, yo guys, give your pause, and Asgold says
no.
No.
Asgold says no. We're gonna go back to the in game to see, because this is you know, this is what's going on, and the response is no. Hydra are here. They're not toying around. They're here to play. They could give their pause timer, but in reality, it should be them unpausing and they pause, and they give a reason for the pause why they're pausing the game. So you can't technically give your pause timer to the other. You have to pause it yourself and give a proper reason for it. At least that's what the rulebook states.
I would have. I don't like when players are asking for the other team to get a pause. I like when the other team just gives them a pause. Yeah.
So Hydra Empire are unpausing themselves. That means they're missing their Alchemist, and somebody else is going to have to micro this. And by the looks of it, it looks like might be BZZ. BZZ's teeping in. I'm going to be letting you go over this. We already knew that James was pretty much done for here. They burnt out the Aegis off of the Weaver, and we're back into action once again.
Oh, this is such an unfortunate way for the series to end. You know,
it's not over yet. You're already dooming the game.
I mean, it's your win condition hero. You know, sure, you can't buy any more items on him, so all of this gold, yeah, it's gonna be distributed towards the side of Empire. Viper can be a good late game hero. This is just not looking good overall.
The things I have seen and witnessed when Nemiga had a player drop out in the TI qualifiers and they had to play 4 versus 5 and they won the game. Because one guy was microing the Pango and the Lion at the same time. Aincrad missed that entire game. But their support player, Lodine, who plays for DGG in West Europe, carried the game for them, and they won 4 versus 5. So I'm staying optimistic as long as the game is still running. So that's the thing that Empire also knows. They need to cause a dent to Hydra somewhat as soon as possible. That's basically their win condition. To get the most out of this Alchemist, they can't stretch this game too far.
Also, with the Winter Wyvern, it's quite easy to kind of micro the Alchemist. ICQ is dead. BCC! Lucky bash. Did you see what BZZ did? He froze himself, and I was like, okay, now you don't have the Winter's Curse. The BKB TP is gonna work out, but luckily they had the Pango bash. Like BZZ already crumbling to the micro problems, you know.
Yeah, there was a moment. I was like, oh wait a minute, like you're actually gonna let him slide, but that's a pick off for Empire. Beastmaster's gone for 30 seconds. And we'll continue to go from here. We've got kicked inside a smoke as Squadix almost getting the jump on to the Marcy. With that. Empire still smoked up, but that smoke is going to run its course.
You can see which items Shatchlo wants to go for. It's gonna be a Manta. He wants a Lincoln's as well, so he's definitely gonna be going for this carry role. Pango will know that this hero can be very, very powerful in the later portions of the game. He scales well with the Diffusal, probably not as well as he would with the Maelstrom, but with the Diffusal he gets so many kills. Squadix is 6-0 and 10, so he definitely does have the capabilities to do well in this game. But I think for Hydra, if the win is the only thing that you're chasing right now, you don't even have to fight. You just need to make the game go later and later, and at some point you're going to be able to outplay your opponents just because it's going to be harder for them to play. But again, the Winter Wyvern, it is not hard. You just stay in the back and you're waiting for the Alchemist to get stunned, then you're blinking in using the Winter's Curse or the Cold Embrace when that does happen.
Pango getting slowed up by the Boar and the Thunderhide here. To roll out from that. Bot lane was pushed in by Askold. Slowly doing some chip damage on the buildings. Thanks to Hydra being able to do the split pushing game. And the roar comes out in the mid lane. Pango rolled up though. Curse onto 2. Is it stolen? Yes, it is, and it's put straight onto the Pangolier, and they're surrounding Squadix, but he didn't heal. And Retrograde coming up the side, but it's going to stun the Alchemist, and that's going to be Squadix going down. Empire coming with the buyback onto the Pango, and Retrograde running at the river. Still a BKB available for the Alchemist, and that is very costly for Empire, now having to buy back on one of their big cores, the Pango.
the goal lead is decreasing, and you see that Empire crumbling a little bit. They put themselves in this kind of a mindset where they need to be going in constantly, and they didn't stop even when the Alchemist disconnected. They understand that the timing now is the best one. As the game progresses, it's gonna be going worse and worse, but they're just not able to use the spells that well. You could see just giving the Winter's Curse away there, and Kowal wasn't immediate on the spell steal. BCC definitely could have used the spell, but he was probably thinking about bringing the Alchemist into the fight as well. So it just puts you in a scenario where you make a mistake, and because of it, your Pango dies. At least Empire walking to the Roche. Now is the question: do Hydra get there in time? If this is prevented, Empire are gonna be in a really bad spot. Like, it's not like they already aren't though.
But they're gonna get Roach for themselves. That's gonna be Aegis and Shard. The first Aegis we saw going to the Weaver. Hydra had to suffer a couple losses during that fight, but at least they kept the Aegis intact. And this Aegis is given for Squadex on the Pango, knowing that Pango is on a buyback currently. And the Shard was given to Weavers. Yeah, it was given to the Wyvern because Wyvern actually was about to buy one of Wyvern's. And again, we'll give the Splinter Blast combined with the Cold Embrace, and the cooldown is pretty small. So Splinter Blast is now coming out every 7 seconds, and Cold Embrace every 11. So reducing the cooldown by 4 seconds is pretty nice.
I actually would have liked them to give it to Shachlo, because I don't really see what other item you're gonna buy on the Winter Wyvern. You have the Blink, you were 400 gold away from your Shard anyways, whereas the Viper, his Shard is amazing, but you don't really want to spend 1400 gold at this point. So that's why I thought the Viper was the one that's gonna get it, though the Wyvern's Shard is really powerful, and it is something that the hero does like to get pretty often.
Still getting a bit of a push going on here. Retrograde, the disconnected one, most likely being microed here by BZZ, who is sticking to the back here. Stolen Curse onto the Alchemist, doesn't really do much, but it lasts for an eternity. And Rory on the sideline, they're going to be able to take down this Viper, or are they? Shot slow, down to 200, BKB available, able to get it out, but Rory will finish off the double kill. Alk is dead, Viper's gone, and Aurora's going to be connecting as well, pushing the Tiny and keeping the Capango on the spot, and this will be a GG call from Empire. They can't do it anymore. That's a 2-0 series for Hydra. It's a bit unfortunate in their eyes, but a game is a game, and Hydra takes the series.
I think it's unfortunate in my eyes as well. I don't want to speak for you, Panda, but you know, it was looking like we're gonna get a game 3. Empire were leading, and then Retrograde just I don't know if it was his PC, if it was his internet, whatever the case. It definitely feels really bad for everyone involved. Hydra, I don't know how good that is gonna feel, but you know, maybe it does. Maybe there's some beef between the players, you know, and because of that you don't give the pause, or you maybe decided, yo guys, let's not do it. This is a competition. They're the ones that need to make sure their internet and PCs are working well, so it's not our problem. Either way, Hydra get themselves out of this as a victory. Not really much to say about this game ever since the Alchemist left. Team Empire, you could see that there was a lot of disconnecting team fights.
Yeah, there was definitely, and this was a very tough battle for Team Empire in terms of how they have to kind of adjust into the situation. You've lost your carry player. You can still micro him, but it's not the same thing. And Hydra's lineup is hitting a pretty crucial moment. We saw the Scotty kick out for the Weaver in that last fight. Plus the Stolen Curse really just tore them all apart. That was a Rubik Curse, which has extra duration thanks to the spell amp and all that. So it was like, you guys are stuck here for like 10 seconds or something like that. So it allowed them to just kind of surround them and locate where Team Empire's heroes are. Where is BZC, the real Wyvern? We want to get that hero out of play and just nuke the cores. They got the Viper and the Alchemist instantly away out of the team fight at the start. So it just all boiled down to one fight in the end, which could have been Team Empire's game to take.
That is, as you mentioned, that Winter's Curse. When it's that long, Hydra, they even have time to discuss how they're gonna approach the fight. I'm gonna take this guy out. Ascolt, you wait for the Winter Wyvern. As soon as you see him, you jump him. And the rest of them, when they use their first BKB, there's immediately gonna be a roar. So after that curse went out, that fight was pretty much over. There was nothing the Team Empire could do about it, even though Retrograde wasn't taking any damage in those terms. But preparing for a fight and positioning in Dota are the most important things. And 6 seconds of having full vision over your enemies gives you perfect situations for fighting, especially in front of your base. Man, I feel so sorry for Empire, but rules are rules. Shit does happen, and hopefully the next time they're gonna have a little bit more luck or preparation in terms of internet and PCs.
Yeah. Still, game one out of this series was totally in the hands of Hydra, and Empire got to play a draft a lot better into game number 2. So this could have been a 3-map series, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. Series is over. Hydra gets their first victory as well in the DPC on this tour, bringing them up to 1-1, and Empire drops down to 1-2. What that technically means is every team except for Nemiga and Cybercats, have now lost the series, and only Hellraisers and X3 are without a victory. So that is prone to change, most likely, during the course of our final games for this week. We have an interview, hopefully, coming up in a bit. I'm still waiting for word on the admin about that, so we could still talk with Hydra about the series, and we'll set things up for that if we do get the word for it. But there's Hellraisers versus X3 tomorrow. I believe you and I are actually casting that series, and then we have Nemiga versus PuckChamp on Sunday, an early Sunday series. So Hellraisers and X3, one of the teams is going to come out with a win out of that series for sure. So kind of in the same situation that Hydra was today, that they finally get their W's on the board.
That was a really good observation, Panda. Out of Hellraisers versus X3 in a best of 3, someone is going to come out as the winner. I think that Hellraisers, if they lose that one, I think we might be looking at a disband from this team, because it would be really bad for them. X3, I think, is the weakest team of the DPC Eastern Europe. I think they do have potential, but they're definitely not on the level of some of these teams, and this is a learning experience from them. Should expect more from them in the next season after TI has passed. Hopefully they do stay together. So I think it should be an easier time for Hellraisers to kind of get themselves back into it, get their first victory, and start rolling the ball and playing the way that we know that they can play.
We're going to take a tiny break. We'll be back in about a minute. We'll set up the interview, and we'll be back then with one of the players from Hydra. So don't disappear. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the interview. You might see me and Harry on camera, but I believe we should have Ascolt from Team Hydra in the interview. Welcome, and congratulations on your 2-0 win today.
Thanks, guys.
What I first of all wanted to start off here is this, game 1 was completely in your hands, and game 2 with, a bit of a touch of fate changed into your direction. How did you feel about the game until the Alchemist disconnected? Do you feel like you could still win this in the late game? Or were you still feeling strong about your draft? What were going in your minds before the disconnect happened?
Well, I think everything was going sort of according to plan, because we made a couple of mistakes in the fights. I mean, not couple, actually a lot of mistakes in the fights. If we played the way we played this first game, the early stage of the game, we would have won easily, I guess. But thanks to fate, the Alchemy was just disconnected, and we won anyway. I mean, I wasn't worried about the game. It looked really easy. They didn't really have the heroes to catch. If we would be losing in the middle game, we would just split them, and I think they have no way to catch Void Spirit and Weaver on the sidelines.
Yeah, very true. The split push game was strong for you guys. You ended up winning the fight and winning the game thanks to Rubik with the stolen curse. It felt like it was lasting for an eternity. You guys were able to just set yourselves around Team Empire. You killed Shotslow's Viper and Retrograde's Alchemist right away. And was there any joy in the comms after you got the GG on the chat?
Actually, not really. My team was tilted because I didn't give them the pause a
Right.
little bit. And then they said that was like unmannered or something like that. But
But you
the
didn't
reason I
have to
did
give
that,
it.
yeah, I know it's my choice first of all. But the second of all, I don't have anything personal about Empire players. Actually, two of the players, my like close friends to me. But the reason I did it is because my first of all, it's 12 p.m. in the Kyrgyzstan. It's really late, and I'm not playing in the house. I'm playing in a computer club. So
Right.
because my computer broke yesterday, like literally after the Dota 2 Champions League against Luna Gaming, my computer broke, and I
Ah.
had to go to the computer club. So yeah, I guess my team was. First of all, I asked my teammate like, "Is it okay if I don't give them space?" They said they don't care. But after they told me, "Nah, it was unmanaged." I don't know, it's
Right.
just something strange with them. But okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we hope that no one will take this against you, because you know it was a fair decision if you don't want to do it. But I had a few questions about the Marcy pick. I know it's not your hero, but you as a team are playing it. We have seen it played by you in position 4 and position 5. Where would you rather play the hero? Do you think she is stronger or one on the other position, or do you think she's fine with both?
I don't think it's a core. I think it's not the post one for sure. I guess it could work on post two, and I think it's really good on post three. I guess because his spells and his damage with the basher and the progression to the late game is pretty cool. But it's not the hero that like wins the game in the late. So I guess if we balance somehow the draft, it could work on core positions like first, second, and third. But I'm not. I don't really like it, Marcy, on the first position. The second maybe, and the third is pretty good to me.
So the you know, this is the new iteration of HYDRA. You got ICQ back from your junior team. You know, how are you feeling as a team? Do you feel like you are stronger on the same level, or maybe just weaker currently, but have more potential than your previous lineup?
I think uh, the difference which I draw between this roster and the previous it is that I'm the captain here, and it was the last roster. The Zayat obviously was our captain, and he was telling me a lot. He was teaching me a lot, but it just didn't work out. And when I became captain, I took everything that he told me and put it on this roster, because first of all, I already played with a couple of the teammates. The Rari I was playing in Fantastic Five, and then IPG. Koval I was playing some like local tournaments and like that. So and ICQ is actually like player from my town. We live in
Oh.
Kyrgyzstan, so we really know each other. I guess I was hope. I think we have more potential in the long term. The I don't know. I think the two rosters was really good, but the first roster just didn't work out. Right now, we're not in a
Hmm.
great shape with this roster in Hydra. So I don't know.
But
I
does it
just
feel
believe in us.
your
What?
current roster is more sustainable than the previous one?
Actually, the previous roster when we only started playing, it was the same results as this roster. We
Right. Right.
managed to get the third place into the CL with Diets, Bleezy, and Dream, and the same thing happened this time. We first did the CL, we did two CL, we managed to get third place, and the DPC we managed to get the third place again. So I don't know. I hope the history won't come again. Then we're
Hmm.
not gonna just slow down and go back to what it started with.
Right. Right.
And I have one more question. You know, Asgold, now that you're the captain, do you have the ambition of being a captain and the mid laner, or do you think you are gonna allow the team to adjust to you, to learn from what you have learned from Zayat himself, and then let Kicked or Kowal take it over, and so that you can just focus on your gameplay, or do you have the ambition of being that mid lane captain in the future?
Um, I think is the reason I'm captain is not because like it's just necessary, because nobody else can right now do it. I don't really want to be mid lane captain because it's really hard to be playing a lot of like pop games and also making things, strategies, drafts. It's all on me and the coach. So also, no, if Koval or Kick wants to be a captain, I would give them honestly. And I think that's my plan to at some point of our games. I just want to put this responsibility to someone else because I don't think it's even a good idea to be a mid laner and the captain because it's at first like 8 minutes I'm just AFK mid. Like I don't really do stuff. And I don't really call anything. But after it's just hard for me to be. And from my experience, it's just really hard to be a captain.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fair enough. We won't keep you for any longer. Thank you so much for taking the time, Askell, for this interview. We had a lot of interviews with you guys in Tour 1, since you had a lot of victories back then. Let's see if you can replicate that for Tour number 3. So good luck forward with your team, and thank you for having the time.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
All right, so there we had some words from Askold and Harry. Tomorrow, Hellraisers versus X3. But quickly, before that, what do you think about Askold and HYDRA and the team in general?
I think now when I heard from Askold, I think that him being 21, that's not like super you wouldn't think that of a super mature guy, but I think he has really mature thoughts there. He doesn't have the ambition to like be the lord of everyone. He just wants to do what's best for his team at the time being, and then let someone else take over when they can. So I have really good opinion. I was like, oh, why didn't you give the pause? But now when he has explained just a little bit that he had kind of a thought process, that he was thinking about it, even got scolded by his teammates a little bit, but they respected his decision. I like the team. I really want to see what they bring in the future. I like that he's optimistic for the future. And when I see these players, I've known them from pubs for a long time. They know how to play Dota, so getting all the things set up together is gonna take some work, but it's worth it. It's always nice building something from the start, and I think it's gonna be a great experience for him as a player. And once he gives the captains to someone else, we're probably gonna see Askell just pop off on the mid lane. So I wish all of the best to them, but you can never know. I think there's potential in the team for sure.
Anything can happen, and that's what Division 2 is all about. We're going to end our broadcast for today. We'll see you tomorrow again on BTS for more Eastern European action, and we will be seeing quite a lot of games as well tomorrow, so don't miss out on what's happening at the BTS channel, so hit the follow button there. We're going to close it out, so take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the casts and watching the games today. It means a lot to us, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun like we did. It's T-Panda and Harry Freak on the commentary. We shall see you again tomorrow. So until then, take care of yourselves, good night, and bye-bye.